Good morning and welcome to device training for the Voyant devices. Let's go ahead and get started here. Now, first off, I want to instruct you how to get the most out of this experience. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that you can see what we're showing. If the screen is too small or too big, go ahead and adjust the size using the upper right corner in that zoom menu. Before we get started on content, I'd like to hand out some material. So in your widget on the side there, you've got a section labeled handouts, and there's a few handouts in place there. So just feel free to grab the one that applies to your particular device. It'll be more device-specific information. Also, if you'd like to participate by speaking to me, you can. You'll have an icon of a microphone. It should be green on your panel somewhere that you can toggle yourself on and off of mute. If you don't feel like speaking, that's fine. You do have the question box in the widget that you can ask me questions, and I'll make sure that I grab those and answer them for you if you have any further concerns, okay? So what happens after this training? I don't expect you to memorize everything I'm going to show you, but there will be a follow-up email. About an hour after this call concludes, check your inbox. You'll receive an email with a link to the recording of this call so you can go back and review it. This is also a good time for me to remind you that this call is being recorded for quality and training purposes. You'll also receive links. One of them goes to voyant.com/academy. This is where you're going to find a lot of videos and job aids. So training goes beyond this one session here. You have PDF files. There are some that I have in the handouts. There's others available at Voyant Academy. And there's an enormous video library that links to our YouTube channel. So you can find several videos to give you further instruction from there. And finally, on voyant.com/academy, you have links there that you can enroll in other webinars like this one. So register for as many of these training webinars as you like. Also, at the conclusion of this call, you'll receive an email with a link not only to the recording, but also a feedback survey. So we do appreciate all the comments, negative or positive, about what we're doing here. It allows us to tailor the next ones to work better. So welcome to device training. Now, this is going to be an interesting device training because it's not truly training on the device. Really, what we're going to do is we're going to cover system training. We're going to show you, independent of the device that you have, how to place and end calls, how to manage voicemail, how to change your conversation modes, how to transfer calls, and how to handle multiple conversations. So let's really start with a really quick primer about what we're talking about when we say PBX, or Private Branch Exchange, and IP PBX, because this is going to provide a little bit of context that's going to make the approach we have work a little better. A PBX is essentially a switchboard for telephone systems, and it makes connections along an internal telephone network that connects the internal phone system to the outside PSTN, or public switch telephone network, the big network. And it goes via trunk or phone lines. The point here is that when you train on how to use a PBX-based or an on-premises-based system, it's very device-specific. So that branch exchange has its own ways of doing things. Whereas with an IP PBX, it's a cloud-based system. So this is software, not hardware. It's less dependent on the device itself than an on-prem PBX would be. And we're going to teach you more of a universal software skill, not a device-dependent task. This is nice because if you upgrade your phone models or you've added some new ones or whatever, the basic understanding of how the system works is the important part, not the device itself. Now, we will look at devices, and I'll show you where to find the particular buttons and things like that. But really, we're going to look at the system itself. Currently, we're offering the Polycom VVX line of phones and the Yealink T4 line of phones. In all, that's over a dozen phone models. So it would be ludicrous to have a dozen different types of individual trainings, especially since the way the system works is being cloud-based. It's going to be a software type arrangement. So let's get started with basics. Let's use the software to place a call. The uniqueness of a cloud-based phone software and dialing patterns is going to be evident right here. Now, we're going to start in the middle with the dial pad. With this system, you do not need to dial a 9 to get an outside line. But the system is going to presume 10-digit dialing. That means that it's going to listen or wait for an area code as well as a phone number, no matter how far you're calling. So whether you are calling local or long distance, you don't need to put the 1 in front. Just put that area code and phone number. If for some reason you need to dial a number that is less than 10 digits, like an internal extension, you'll notice the phone may pause. It's going to wait and think that more digits are coming. You can force the phone to dial this shortened number by pressing the pound key after you've entered the digits, or by pressing send or place call from the soft keys. There are a few ways to start a call. So the first one is to pre-input the number into the keypad and then lift the handset, and it will dial the number on there for you. The other thing you can do is you can press new call, and you see on the Polycom phones it's essentially the same place there. The new call soft key will dial that number that you have entered, or if you don't have a number in there, pressing new call will give you a dial tone and you can dial from there. On the A-Links, the button that you're looking for is send. Type the number in and hit send, and that will dial your phone. You can hit OK as to confirm that that's what you're dialing in there, or you can click the speakerphone or the headset key, depending on how you actually like to use the interface there. So just put the number in and hit send. Remember 10-digit dialing, that's really the only thing to think about when you are placing those calls. All right, we're going to start with a little bit of a disclaimer. If you are on a held call and you want to disconnect that call, you need to resume that call first. If you merely hang up your phone or you try to disconnect the call that's on hold, it will remain on hold, which isn't a great customer service experience for that caller. So when you want to end your call, you can hit end call. If you're speaking on the handset, you can replace the handset in the cradle, or you can press the speakerphone or the headset key to terminate that call. Hanging up's easy. Let's look for a second at managing voicemail. Now, this system does offer you a voice portal that will help manage your voicemail system. They all work the same way since we're just using the same software. So to set up voicemail the first time, what you're going to do is you're going to interact with an icon that looks like an envelope, and all of our devices have the same sort of iconography for this. The first time you access voicemail, it'll talk you through how to set it up. So you'll set a PIN, you'll record your name, and you'll be given options for customizing your outgoing messages. On all devices, this envelope button or this envelope key is what you use to interact with the voicemail system. Setting up voicemail for the first time only takes a few minutes. When you have a new message, the message waiting indicator at the top will blink to remind you that you have new messages. Now, they're usually in the upper right-hand corner. You can see we're showing you where they're at on our display here, but it will blink red to let you know that you have new messages. You press that voicemail icon again, that will take you to the voicemail system, and you'll interact with the IVR in that voicemail system. So she'll tell you to press 1 to listen to messages, press 7 to delete messages, etc. Now, the way that this voicemail system works is you only have about 20 to 22 minutes of recording capability. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you delete messages with that 7 key when you don't need them anymore. That will make sure that you have sufficient space to record new incoming messages. Conversation modes. Conversation modes are different ways of using the device to speak. So let's talk about some different types of conversation modes on these phones. You can, again, we have the handouts available to you. They're in the widget, so go ahead and download those for your appropriate device if you want. And feel free to come off mute and interact if you feel like it, or not, that's okay too. And once again, remember, if you have any questions, we do have the questions box in your widget there. Just go ahead and type a question in if you have one. Okay, so there's actually several ways to interact with callers on your device, and it all depends on the situation, the tone of the call you're on, your audience, and the circumstances or your personal preferences. Of course, you have the handset on all these devices. That's very simple. Press it to your ear and your mouth, and you're talking on your phone. You also have an extensive array of headset options, ranging from inexpensive wired options to expensive Bluetooth ones. Those are external to the phone itself. And then you also have the option of a speakerphone on your device. What I'm going to show you now is how to change between these different conversation modes. The conversation mode keys can be used while on an active call, and they change the way you interact with your handset. If you've ever fielded a call while simultaneously sending emails to clients or customers, hands-free tends to be a good option for people. So you have the handset, but it's not always the most efficient. So you do have the headset key, which looks like a headset. All the same icons carry across all of our models here. And what this button will do is when you press it, it will glow green and it will indicate that your calls are going through the headset. This is the device that's handling the calls. If for some reason you accidentally hit this button, the headset key, and you don't have a headset attached, don't worry. It won't disconnect your call, but that call isn't going to be productive because neither party will hear each other. So if you don't have a headset attached and you notice that this key has been pressed or everything's gotten kind of quiet on your speakerphone or your handset, just go ahead and either hit the speakerphone key or pick up the handset again and continue that call. The other thing you can do is you have a speakerphone key, and all of them have this speakerphone icon, the same sort of speaker on the right-hand side there. That moves your call through the speakerphone on the device. The speakers are located under the handsets, and the microphones are located under the front lip of the device. But keep this in mind, because if you're using speakerphone mode, your caller won't be able to hear you so well if you get too far to the side or behind the device, just because of the location of that speaker, or the microphone rather. All right, let's look at how to transfer calls. In this system, because we have a PBX type of arrangement, IP-PBX, a lot of times you want to send calls to other cohorts, to other office workers or colleagues. So let's talk about a couple ways to transfer calls. The two types of transfers we're going to walk through. First one is a blind transfer. Think of this as deflecting the call to the other party. It's going to transfer calls directly to another line without speaking to that other party first. It just moves it straight over to them. On the polycoms, to transfer an active call to another party without speaking to them, you're going to press and hold the transfer key. On the 300 and 400 model, it's a hard key. On the left, it has this icon that looks like a phone pointing into the phone. And then on the 500, 600, it's a soft key that says transfer. Once you have held that down, you're going to select the blind as an option. And then you're going to put that 10-digit number or the extension and press the send key. On the A-Link, there's not a whole lot of difference. You do have that soft key that says transfer. Press that transfer key, enter the target number, and press transfer again, which will complete that transfer for you. As far as your caller is concerned, their experience is from the moment you hit transfer the first time to the time the next party picks up, they're on hold. So they're going to listen to hold music and have that more gentle experience while you are doing that transfer. The other type of transfer is called a consultative transfer, or an attended or a warm transfer. This is actually the default transfer type. This is what the system prefers you do, but it really depends on your particular situation. This is where the call is placed on hold. The call is then placed to the destination party, and a conversation will take place between you and the next party prior to you moving the call over. Now, keep in mind that the caller themselves, they are on hold this whole time, so they can't hear any basis of the conversation that you're having. So consultative transfers occur when that call comes in and you would like to announce the call to the party you're transferring to before you send it over. So way to do it is you press the transfer key. Now you're just going to click the transfer key. You're not going to hold it down. So on the 400 or the 300, it's a hard key there. Type the number you want to send it to and hit send. At that point, when the next party picks up, you can have a conversation with them. Remember, your caller is still on hold. So you can paraphrase what they called about and say, hey, I've got Bill on the other line, and he wants to talk to you about this training session. And when you're ready, you'll hit the transfer key a second time to connect that call. On the 500, 600, after you select transfer, and again, you just click it, you choose consultative transfer and enter the number to transfer to and press that green call button. Once you've confirmed that the other party is ready, you'll press transfer again. Now, we've done the same thing on both phones here, remember? We've hit transfer, dialed the number, hit send, had a conversation, and hit transfer again. And the Yealink works nearly the exact same way. Press transfer, enter the number you want to send it to, press OK. The only difference between the devices is pressing a green call button or pressing an OK button. You just to confirm that you have placed that call. They work the exact same way. All right. The system is also able to handle multiple conversations at a time. These are advanced phone systems, so you're not limited to just one conversation. Furthermore, you're not limited to just conversations on the phone. Sometimes you're in an office and someone comes up to you and they want to speak to you or say something, whatever. You may need to know how to mute your phone. The mute buttons are located on the right-hand side of all of these phones. They've got a microphone mute button, and it will glow red with that LED to show you that the brilliant things that you're saying are not going to be heard by the other end of the conversation. They all have the same icon, too. You can see it's just a microphone with a slash through it. You can still hear everything the other party says when they're muted, and that mute will mute every microphone that you're using. So whether you're on speakerphone or headset or handset, doesn't matter. Hitting that mute key stops it from going. Next, let's look at how to manage conversations on active calls. You can place any active call that you have on hold. The person on hold can't hear anyone, and no one can hear that person. They get hold music. So to place a call on hold, you'll press either the hold hard key on the 300, 400, which looks like a phone with an old VCR pause symbol next to it. When you press this key, or press the hold soft key, the 300 and 400 will have a hold soft key as well, so you can always use soft keys for these. When that call is on hold, information about the held call appears in the display for each device. And it will show you something like this, where you will see the caller ID name and number, and the amount of time that caller has been on hold will appear here. You can manage up to 3 concurrent calls with these devices. So it's very possible that you might have more than one person on hold at a time, and your display will show you all of those that you have on hold. And one of them will be highlighted. It will have a darker or lighter color in most cases to show you that that is the one that you would resume by pressing the soft key labeled resume. There is no time limit to the amount of time you can put someone on hold. It's not a really good customer service thing to leave someone on hold indefinitely, but the system will allow it. And once a call is on hold, it's on hold on that device. So that's the only device that's going to be able to retrieve that call. So just keep that in mind. It's your call, your device is controlling it. To resume a call from the line's view, press resume. If there's more than one held call at a time, it will default to the last call that you held to resume. If you want to select a different one, you can either use the navigation buttons that are located on the 400. It's the navigation key right over on the right here. On the Yealink, you have these buttons. And on the 500, 600, it's all touch screen. So you'll just press the region to change which one is selected. You can initiate a conference call with 2 contacts on hold. You can resume or you can split a conference call. So you do have the ability to initiate 3-way calls with these phones. And it says conference. The other thing you can do is if you have a line on hold and one that's active, you can use a soft key labeled join, and join will bring those together as well. All right, so we have covered quite a bit today. I do want to remind you that there are handouts in the widget that you can download. We did look at placing and beginning and ending calls, managing voicemail, changing the conversation mode, how to transfer calls. We talked about how to handle multiple conversations. We didn't go into the contact directory. I need to take that off of this PowerPoint because that's not relevant to these. So handouts are in the widget. They do have a lot of PDF information there that you can print out. They're all color. If you want to print them out in color, that's fine. They're great reference sheets to get going. Now what happens next? Again, just as a reminder, you're not expected to remember everything here. There is that follow-up email that you're going to get pretty soon, in about an hour. It's going to have links to content as well as a recording of this call. Everything I showed you today is available at Voyant Academy. You go to voyant.com/academy. Videos and job aids are there for all the devices that we offer. We've got a great training repository there, and you have a lot of PDF files. You've got an enormous video library, and then you have links to register for more training webinars if you want. Also, you're going to get that email which will have a recorded, I said the recording of the call, but this one that we're talking about here is for the survey. So if you feel like it, please participate in the survey and let us know how we're doing so we can always make these better. Thank you very much. I don't see any questions in the question box. If you have any questions that you'd like to answer, go ahead and put them in there, or come off of mute with the green button if you have any concerns right now. Or if not, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you very much.